Speaking of moral rot, Gavin Newsom's redistricting win in California is making him a hero to the left, setting him up for the 2028 White House run he's been eyeing for years. Here now with reaction, the Tudor Dixon podcast host, Tudor Dixon, Project 21 chairman Horace Cooper, and host of the Isabel Brown Show on the Daily Wire, Isabel Brown. Horace, let me start with you. I'm sure Gavin Newsom is patting himself on the back while he's looking in the mirror saying, "Oh, Mr. President, good morning." But to go back and say, "Oh, what we want to do is just take radical partisan control and redistrict," I mean, that is so counter to what he was saying just a few years ago.
Oh, well, one of the beautiful things about being a progressive is that you don't have to remember what happened yesterday. You passed the Affordable Care Act. You promised us that all the prices of health care would go down. When they triple, when they quadruple, you shut the government down today and say it's because mean old nasty Republicans won't fund it. This has been a trend for a while. What has been really, really troublesome has been the unbelievably vicious rhetoric that we're seeing coming from just the progressive side.
Yeah, I mean, it's violence. This guy, Jay Jones, Isabel, I want to get your reaction to this. Jay Jones, I mean, he wrote it out. He was very explicit. It wasn't like an accidental, "Oh, you misunderstood." It was very explicit, and yet he thrived, particularly with the women's vote. Can you explain to me what in the world the people of Virginia are looking at that somebody with such vile rhetoric, aggressive, violent rhetoric, would actually be elected as the Attorney General of Virginia?
You know, I wish I had a coherent, rational explanation for what's going on here, but you're right. It is primarily women liberal voters that are flocking to this type of rhetoric, including in New York City. 84% of Gen Z women voters flocked to Zohran Mamdani. I'm a Virginia resident these days myself. I vehemently voted against Jay Jones, but I think it's become obvious to those of us who are outspoken and using our voices boldly in the conservative movement in the last 8 weeks that these people are serious when they tell you that they want to take your life. That hits closer to home than ever before in the wake of Charlie Kirk's assassination. And to know that the head of law enforcement in the state in which I now reside would be completely comfortable and unapologetic about killing my daughter to get me to change my policy viewpoints because that's the only way to do so in his mind is shuddering. But the truth is, they're not just electing people who say this stuff. Look at a new elected city councilor in Bangor, Maine, named Angela Walker. This woman has served 10 years in prison for manslaughter after a Canadian tourist in 2002 allegedly called her a racist name. She shoved sand down his throat to the point that he suffocated to death, and she is now an elected official of the Democrat Party in Maine. I don't think this is slowing down anytime soon.
Following up on that, Tudor, I mean, part of the challenge here is you have people who are advocating and saying that they are here illegally just to try to garner votes like they did in St. Paul. And then you have in Kansas, you have another situation where somebody allegedly was here illegally. And it had evidently been voting in both, municipal and state and federal elections because, everybody else tells us that never, ever happens. So what in the world is going on with not just the far left, but people in the middle who are thinking, yeah, we're pro-illegal immigration?
Well, I think, Jason, what you just said is so important. We keep being told this isn't happening, but the gentleman you're talking about in Kansas was elected mayor, and he's illegal also. I mean, this is insane what we're seeing. Yeah. And we've seen it in Michigan, too. We saw the Chinese national in Michigan in the 24 election that voted, and then the Secretary of State came out and said, well, there's no way for us to take a vote out of the system, so we just have to go with it. Even though she had just said in May, it's impossible. Illegals can't vote in our elections. So all of the times that we were told we're crazy, these things can't happen, and the Democrats were saying they were protecting democracy, they've known this entire time, not only can illegals vote, but they're actually electing them to office as well. And in this case, I think you have to look at all of these stories and say we are in a serious situation of party over country. And that is where we get very dangerous, because people are no longer looking at candidates and saying, do they represent me? Do they have the country's best interests at heart? Do they have the people's best interests at heart? It is, we are a part of this party. It's almost like a cult. We're a part of this party. We've got to vote for these people no matter what. I mean, even the Jay Jones situation, who could possibly, if they had children, ever come out and vote for someone who had, like you said, written it out? I mean, you have to think about it to write it out. And yet that's where we are.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. Listen, everybody should vote same day, same time, same information, in person with a voter ID. It's not that complicated, and every state needs to look at that. That should be the mantra of the Republican Party. Vote in person with voter ID, same time, same information. That would solve a lot of this problem. But that's not what they're doing in California. That's not what they're doing in New York. Heaven forbid. Thank you all for joining us tonight on Hannity.